Ever been right in the middle of something important? Maybe you're typing a crucial email or, deep in a game and poof, the power cuts out.
Ugh, the worst.
Exactly. So today we're diving deep into how to stop those moments becoming, well, digital disasters.
Oh.
We're focusing on a specific bit of tech, the APC Back-UPS ES BE850G2-UK.
Right, a UPS. Uninterruptible power supply.
Yep. And we've got a review here we're going to kind of pick apart. See if this thing really does what it says on the tin, quiet, dependable power protection for your home office gear without needing an engineering degree to figure it out.
Yeah, that's the key, isn't it? Think about all the vital stuff we rely on: computers, Wi-Fi, smart home hubs even.
Absolutely.
A little flicker or a full outage, and suddenly everything's chaos.
So the mission today is this APC unit, a practical, straightforward way to keep things ticking along when the power grid lets you down.
Let's find out.
Okay, so first impressions. Straight out of the box, what's the vibe? The review describes it as pretty low-key, compact, matte black.
Yeah, understated is the word they use. It
Okay.
sounds like it's built to just work, not really trying to be a design statement.
More function over form.
Exactly. The reviewer mentioned feeling a sort of inherent reliability just from its look. Simple, functional.
And size-wise.
It's apparently just under 5 kilos. So you can move it if you need to, but it also feels, well, substantial. Suggests decent quality inside, not just an empty plastic box.
Good point. And the plastic itself, does it feel sturdy?
Apparently so. High-grade stuff, they say. Resists scuffs and fingerprints, which is always a bonus.
Oh, yeah. Nothing worse than tech that looks grubby after 5 minutes.
Tell me about it. And the front panel seems to follow that same practical thinking.
What's on there?
Just a subtle APC logo, the essential little LED indicator lights.
Standard stuff.
Pretty much. And something I think is genuinely useful, 2 USB charging ports right on the front.
Oh, handy.
Yeah. Plus the main power button, which apparently has a nice solid tactile feel. Little details, but they matter.
They really do. Okay, let's mentally flip it around. The back panel, that's where the action is, right? Outlets.
8 of them in total. So, yeah, a decent number for plugging your gear in.
8. Okay, are they all the same?
No, and this is quite smart. The reviewer breaks it down. 4 provide both battery backup and surge protection.
Ah, okay, so those are for the critical things.
Exactly. Your PC, your monitor, maybe your router. The stuff you absolutely don't want dropping out instantly.
Makes sense. And the other 4?
Those are surge only. Still protected from spikes, but no battery backup. Perfect for, say, a printer, a desk lamp. Things that aren't mission critical if the power dips for a few minutes.
That flexibility seems really practical. And what about spacing? We've all fought with those chunky power adapters.
Yes. The review specifically calls out the generous spacing between outlets.
Thank goodness.
It's a definite win. No more plug Tetris. And the main power input uses a standard IEC C13 connector, nice and secure.
Okay, cool. Let's circle back to those USB ports on the front. You said they were handy.
Yeah, the review points out their usefulness beyond just, plugging in your phone. They're rated up to 1 amp each.
So not super fast charging for a modern phone, maybe?
Probably not the fastest, no. But ideal for topping up tablets, wireless headphones, fitness trackers, that kind of thing.
And it frees up ports on your actual computer, which can be scarce.
Precisely. Especially on laptops or smaller PCs. And here's a really neat detail the reviewer liked.
Go on.
These USB ports apparently stay powered even when the main UPS unit is switched off.
Oh, that is clever.
Yeah. Means you can leave stuff charging overnight without the whole UPS being fully active. Maybe it saves a tiny bit of power, but it's just convenient. Thoughtful design.
Definitely sounds like it. Okay, so practical design, good connectivity. But the core job is backup power, right? What happens when the mains actually fail?
The big question.
Let's talk performance. The specs say 850 VA, 450 watts. What does that translate to in, real-world terms?
Okay, so that 450-watt figure. Think of that as the maximum load it can handle on battery. For a typical desktop PC and monitor, that's often in the ballpark.
Right.
The reviewer estimates you'd get around 10 minutes of runtime for a standard setup during a blackout.
10 minutes. Doesn't sound like ages, but maybe it's enough.
Well, it's generally plenty of time to save whatever you're working on, close your applications properly, and shut down the computer gracefully.
Ah, okay. So it's about preventing data loss or corruption from a sudden cutoff, not necessarily working through a long outage.
Exactly. It bridges that gap. And they did test it, didn't just rely on the numbers.
Good. What did they find?
They simulated an outage using a 60-watt monitor and a mid-range gaming PC, which was pulling about 200 watts under a light load. The result, rock solid, steady power output, and the switch from mains power to battery power was described as imperceptible.
Imperceptible. Wow.
Yeah. No flickering lights, no computer hiccups, just seamless backup kicking in. That's precisely what you want.
Absolutely. That seamless switch is key. Okay. Another potential annoyance with UPS units, especially older ones. Noise. What's the verdict here?
This is a big plus, according to the review, especially if it's going in your home office or living room.
Right. You don't want a constant hum.
Exactly. And this one is apparently whisper quiet during normal operation. Even when it kicks over to battery power, it doesn't start whining or humming loudly like some older models can.
That's a huge relief. So no annoying background noise.
The only sound mentioned is a sort of soft thud when the internal relay switches power sources.
The thud.
Yeah, but described as reassuring. Like confirmation it's doing its job, not an irritating buzz.
Okay, I can live with a reassuring thud. Now, for people who like a bit more control or information, there's software too, right?
Yes, it comes with APC's PowerChute Personal Edition software. Connects via USB.
And is it complicated to use?
Reviewer says no, pretty straightforward installation, and the interface seems user-friendly.
What does it show you?
The key stuff, basically. How much load is currently on the UPS, the health of the battery, which is important, and an estimated remaining runtime if the power goes out.
That estimated runtime would be handy.
Very. It also logs power events, so you can see if you've been having minor glitches. And crucially, you can configure it to automatically shut down your connected computer safely if the power is out for too long and the battery gets low. Okay, like a safety net if you're not there.
Exactly. Prevents the UPS battery running completely flat and the PC crashing anyway.
Smart. Okay, what about protecting against surges, those sudden spikes in power?
Yep. That's the other half of the job. This unit is rated for 420 joules of surge protection.
420 joules. Is that good?
It's a decent level for protecting against common, everyday power fluctuations and spikes. The reviewer makes the fair point that nothing short of disconnecting everything can guarantee protection from a direct lightning strike.
Yeah, fair enough. But for the more typical surges and noise on the line that can degrade or damage sensitive electronics over time, that 420 joules offers a really valuable layer of defense. Peace of mind, really.
Definitely. Okay, thinking longer term. Maintenance. Is this thing going to need constant fiddling?
Seems like minimal hassle. The main thing, as with any UPS, is the battery will eventually wear out and need replacing. Usually every, say, 3 to 5 years. Depends on usage.
Right. And is replacing it a nightmare? Do I need special tools?
Apparently not.
Yeah.
The review highlights this as a big plus. There's a hidden hatch on the bottom, no tools needed. You just slide it open, swap the battery, slide it closed. Really user-friendly.
Oh, that is good design. I hate devices where battery replacement feels like major surgery.
Me too. And the replacement batteries themselves, standard 12-volt, 7-amp-hour sealed lead-acid types, are widely available, so you're not locked into some proprietary expensive battery. Should give the unit a good long life.
Good to know. Now, no tech is absolutely perfect. Did the review mention any, downsides or things to be aware of?
A couple of minor points, yeah. But framed more as things to consider for specific needs, not really flaws.
Like what?
The included power cable, the IEC one that plugs into the UPS, is apparently a bit short for some people's setups. Might need an extension cord depending on where you place it.
Okay, manageable.
The USB charging ports, as we mentioned, are 1 amp, so they won't fast charge the newest, hungriest tablets or phones. Still useful, but good to know.
Right, sets expectations.
And finally, that 450-watt power capacity. While fine for most typical users, if you do have a really high-end gaming PC with a monster graphics card or maybe multiple powerful devices, you might push up against that limit. You'd need to check your power draw.
So basically know your needs. Sounds reasonable. For the average home or small office user, these probably aren't deal breakers.
Seems to be the conclusion, yeah. More like trade-offs for the price point.
And speaking of fitting in, what about the actual look and feel in a room? Aesthetics.
Again, understated seems key. That matte black finish helps it just blend in, doesn't scream, "Look at me!" Resists dust and fingerprints well, apparently.
Keeps it looking tidy.
Yeah. Soft curves, nothing too harsh. And the indicator lights are a soft green normally, only changing to amber if there's an issue, like it's on battery or there's a fault. Not distracting. Designed to sit under a desk or on a shelf and not be noticed much.
Functional and unobtrusive. There's that theme again. Did the review mention any sort of unexpected benefits? Any little surprises?
Actually, yes, a rather neat little safety feature.
Ooh.
Apparently, the front panel LEDs can indicate if there are voltage problems coming from the wall socket even when your computer connected to it is turned off.
Really? How's that useful?
Well, imagine there's been a power outage or some flickering. Before you even turn your potentially sensitive PC back on, a quick glance at the UPS might show an amber light, warning you that the mains power still isn't stable.
Ah, like an early warning, don't turn things on yet.
Exactly. A little extra check before you risk powering up your valuable gear. Clever.
That is clever. Okay, so let's pull all this together then. What's the final verdict, the overall value here?
The reviewer really sums it up as a dependable, no-nonsense choice. It does the basics, and it does them well.
The core job.
Right. Plenty of outlets, good split between backup and surge only, reliable surge protection, that seamless battery switching we talked about, easy-to-use software, minimal maintenance.
Ticks a lot of boxes.
Yeah, and apparently at a pretty keen price point. The review mentioned seeing it often under 80 pounds.
Under 80 pounds? That sounds very reasonable for what it offers.
It does seem like good value for the protection and peace of mind.
So who's the ideal user for this, would you say, based on the review?
Well, they specifically mentioned freelancers, students, anyone working from home, really, or just home users who have computers, routers, maybe a NAS drive, that sort of thing, that they want to protect from sudden shutdowns or surges.
Protect their data, protect their hardware.
Exactly. It's that idea of digital insurance, especially if your local power grid isn't perfectly reliable. It provides that safety net.
So yeah, a practical shield for your digital life without needing to be a tech expert or break the bank.
That seems to be the essence of it. Solid foundational power protection for everyday tech.
Well, that was a really comprehensive look at the APC Back-UPS ES BE850G2-UK. Definitely sounds like a solid, sensible option that gets the job done without unnecessary frills.
It certainly seems that way from the review.
Yeah.
Prioritizes the essentials and user-friendliness.
Right. So maybe a final thought for everyone listening today. As we lean more and more heavily on all this tech in our homes for work, connection, entertainment, and let's face it, power grids can be unpredictable. How much is that peace of mind really worth to you, that insurance policy for your digital world? And maybe what other steps could you or should you be thinking about to safeguard your valuable tech?
Something to definitely mull over.
Indeed. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.